Good morning. I wanted to let you know you guys can go back for last week's homework. If you didn't turn it in at all, please watch the videos and turn it in. This is going to be the last late homework I checked, but the stuff we did last week is very important for SAT, ACT, and for next year. So please go back. Anytime it says solve the special right triangles with exact numbers or simplified, that means you are not allowed to use a calculator. You are not allowed to use SOHCAHTOA. Please go back and redo those and resubmit them for last week only. I'm not taking any other late work, okay? So make sure you get this assignment turned in by Tuesday night, the next assignment turned in by Thursday, and so on. We've only got a couple more weeks, two more sets of lessons, a review, assessment, and then your final. Okay, we're getting down there. Okay, so today's stuff is actually pretty easy. Instead of drawing random triangles, we're going to be drawing triangles on the coordinate plane and using SOHCAHTOA. The key to these is you need to remember to draw all triangles. There's my big coordinate plane. Thank you, daughter. Sorry about that. Should have checked, I guess. Okay, so when you're drawing your triangles in the coordinate plane, whether they're in the first quadrant, or in the second quadrant, or in the third quadrant, or in the fourth quadrant, you never draw in all four. It's specifically to one. Like if you look at this first one, it says 7, 4. Go over 7, go up 24. Okay, this next one, example 1. Negative 5, 12. Well, if you look at the coordinate plane, it obviously has to be in the second one. Negative 5, go up 12. Okay? It always has to be attached to the x-axis. You can never, ever draw a triangle touching the y-axis. If you do this, it's wrong. You can't do that. Okay? It has to touch the x-axis. It has to be a part of this bow tie, for lack of a better example. And your theta is always here in the center. It's always here touching the x-axis like this. So that's why I think it looks like a bow tie. Okay? Remember that, because I will not grade them if they're touching the y-axis. Okay? Other than that, it's the same thing as getting your information for the 6 trig functions, just like last week. Okay? Remember, you need your bow tie, where you need to figure out which quadrant it goes in. Okay, so you have to draw a triangle. This is step number 1. Draw your triangle. Step number 2 is you're going to have to do a Pythagorean theorem to figure out your hypotenuse. Your hypotenuse will always be positive. Okay, it will always be positive no matter whether both of your sides are positive or negative. The legs can be negative, they could be positive, depending on which quadrant they're in, but your hypotenuse always has to be positive. Okay, so when we do Pythagorean theorem here, we have 7 squared plus 24 squared equals our hypotenuse squared. So I'm just going to make this an x up here. And you have 49 plus 576 equals x squared. So that's 625 equals x squared. So x equals 25. So this one is 25. Now we just do our 6 trig functions to it. Okay, so opposite hypotenuse, there's my sign. So 24 over 25. And cosecant, because S and C go together when we have our reciprocals, flip this one over. Okay, then we have, I don't know if I can get that out of there. Then we have cosine, adjacent hypotenuse. So we have 7 over 25, and then 25 over 7. Okay, and then tangent is opposite, adjacent. So we have 24 over 7 and 7 over 24. Okay, all right, so change quadrants. So this one's negative 5, 12. So negative 5, that's our x value. That goes, excuse me, to the left. And then we have up 12. So now we need to do Pythagorean theorem to find our hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always positive. So we have negative 5 squared plus 12 squared equals x squared. If you're using your graphing calculator or a calculator to help you put these in, make sure that you put parentheses around that negative 5, because negative 5 squared is positive 25. And in your graphing calculator, if you don't put that parentheses, it's going to tell you negative, and that's going to mess up your problem. On these, if you get a square root, you may leave it. You cannot leave square roots when you're dealing with special right triangles. But if you have a square root on these, you may leave it unsimplified for now. Okay? But if it comes out, if you have a 30, 60, 90 or 45, 45, 90 triangle, then you should know what those relationships are between those sides. You have to simplify those. This one turns out nice again, though. 169 equals x squared, so x equals 13. Okay, so I'm going to start with cosine. Negative 5 over 13. Just to change things up. The negative should go either out in front or on top, but never leave it with the bottom number if the bottom one is the negative one. Sine is 12 over 13. 13 over 12. The tangent is 12 over negative 5. Cotangent is negative 5 over 12. Okay, so if we give you an example where there is no quadrant or no axes given to you, you have to draw it first. You can't just guess and start putting stuff down, okay? And we're going to start giving you different trig values. So you may not have to do all 6. The 6 may be in a messed up order. So make sure that you're paying attention, okay? All right, so this first one, 3, negative 4. That's a positive x and a negative y. So if I'm drawing my quadrant, I really need more space down here in the 4th quadrant. Okay, so I'm going to go 3 this direction. I'm going to go down negative 4. Remember, your triangle always touches the x-axis, and your theta is always touching the origin. So I drew my triangle. I need to do Pythagorean theorem. We know that 3, 4, 5 is a Pythagorean triple that always works. You have 9 plus 16 equals 25. So that's one that, try to look for that one because that pattern comes up a lot. Okay, so remember that even though this is pointed down, your hypotenuse is always, always positive. So that's a positive 5. So sine, opposite, hypotenuse, negative 4 over 5. Cosecant then would be negative 5 over 4. Just put it out front, put 4. And cotangent. Cotangent is adjacent, opposite. So this would be a negative out front, and 3 over 4. Okay, next one, negative 2, negative 4. So negative 2, negative 4, this is 3rd quadrant. It has to touch the x-axis. Your theta has to touch the origin. Do not make your triangle touch the y-axis in any way. Okay? All right, so this one's 2 and 4. It's not 3 and 4. It's not going to turn out nice. So we're going to leave our square root once we find it. We have negative 4 squared plus negative 2 squared equals x squared. This being my x. So we have 16 plus 4 equals x squared. We have 20 equals x squared. So we have square root of 20 equals x. You can simplify this if you want and get 2 square roots of 5. Okay, if you leave it a square root of 20, I'm okay with that, as long as it's not unit circle values. So tangent here would be opposite, adjacent. So I'd have negative 4 over negative 2. Do not leave it like that. You simplify it and turn it into 2 over 1. And it's now positive because negative over negative. Secant is the opposite of cosine. You have to have an S and a C together. So it's cosine. And this would be square root of 20 over, I don't want to put negative 2 on bottom, so I'm going to put the negative out front. You can leave it like that. Or you can do negative out front, 2 square root of 5 over 2, you could cancel that and get negative square root of 5. So for this one, either one of those answers is okay. And cotangent is the opposite of tangent, so it would be 1/2. Okay? So make sure that you do your Pythagorean theorem. Make sure you draw your triangle. Okay? And then here's one more. Put this on pause. Try this one by yourself. And then unpause me and see if you did it right. Okay? Alright, so hopefully you were back from being paused. Let's see how this went. So we have to draw our triangle first. So -9, so I have to go -9 this direction. It's a +12, so I'm going to go up 12. I have to have my triangle touching the x-axis, and my theta always touches the origin, or where your triangle hits the origin. So now we need to do Pythagorean theorem. -9 squared plus 12 squared equals x squared. So you get 81 plus 144 equals x squared. So I get 225 equals x squared. So x takes square roots. I get 15. It's positive because our hypotenuse is always positive. So step 1 was to draw the triangle. Step 2 is to do Pythagorean theorem. Step 3, write your 3 trig functions. Oh, sorry. Step 3, your hypotenuse is always positive. Step 4 then would be to write your 6 trig functions. Okay, so we get 12 over 15. You really should simplify it. The numbers are small enough. So 3 goes into those 4 and 5 times. And then you can flip this over 5/4. Cosine, -9 over 15. So -3 over 5. Flip that over for our reciprocal, 5/3. Tangent, 12 over -9. So I'm going to put the negative out front. So you get -4 over 3. Or you can have the negative out front. Top or out front, it's fine. And then flip that over. So we get -3 over 4. Okay? So please join the Google Meet either today on Monday or on Wednesday to ask me questions on last week or this week. There's a lot of you that aren't understanding this stuff. We do have an assessment in 2 weeks. Please come on and ask questions if you have them. And then after that assessment, we're going to have a final, a small final that will be 10% of your grade, not 20% of your grade. But if you have a borderline grade, it could really, really help. So please stay focused and stay with me. Okay? Miss you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.